let's continue this talk of Attorney General Ken Paxton suing VA Claims Insider, but more so about what it really comes down to when it comes to veterans. So I brought up the Texas Tribune. It talks about the Guard Act and the state attorney generals who are behind it, with the VA and other private groups. Now, I want to jump over to this one, right? The Legion brought up this, and I think this is interesting. Before I say this, I will say the following. It's interesting to me that the rights for veterans to choose is not being made by veterans, but by others who think they know what's good for us. Let's just start there, right? So we have a lot of vested interest in keeping things the way they are, guarding benefits, right? Because we don't want bad actors in the space. Check, got it. Lawyers that do not do what they're supposed to do, they get paid only if things are delayed out. Not all lawyers are bad, but that's just a fact. VSOs who are supposed to help may not be able to help because resources are limited. It is what it is. It's a VA problem, not one of organizations. Instances where it seems that the focus is not on solving the problem, but who's actually stepping in because there is a problem for veterans to get help. The fact that it takes 2 years to get recognized by the VA as an organization. So let veterans continue to wait and be screwed. And again, who's going to put up with all that and then go through the process? Again, very limited reasons. It's not working. That's the point, right? The fact that it seems that there's more political games at play here to deflect things and use propaganda, right? A lot of vested interest because, again, it's all what's good for you, right? But let's focus on this. So the American Legion says the following. We oppose the Plus Act, which I support because they stand for veterans. Let's unpack that. If that's enacted, they're saying that the PAC Act would transition the system of securing benefits for disabled veterans to unregulated profit driven industry. The industry that has capitalized apparently on veterans because the veterans actually found what they needed there, i.e., support, i.e., availability, i.e., someone to actually help them because waiting for months and months for the free help to show up didn't work, or lawyers who were not, who always just said, we really can't help you, you don't have a claim, you don't have a case. Again, there's a need that has exceeded the supply of help. That's the point. However, let's unpack this. So the Plus Act looks to legalize companies by allowing them automatic accreditation in 90 days, regardless of whether the VA has completed the verification process. The VA process exists to ensure veterans and their family members receive the appropriate representation of their VA benefits. And that's why these companies have flourished, because apparently these folks are doing the right job. Let's just call a spade, right? The fact of the matter is, you're not reaching veterans, they're not going to your services because for whatever many reasons. You're not marketing, you're not reaching, you're not available, you're limited on resources, a lot. Instead of just pointing a finger, why are veterans doing that? It's not Mr. Steal Your Vet. Why did the vet not want to go to you? That's the first part. The Plus Act, though, is being misrepresented here. So let's jump into it. This is the Plus Act. So very quickly, again, I can just unpack this and we can go into detail, but there's amendments made here. Some of the highlighted are saying that yes, there is a ramp for private organizations to come into compliance with the VA, a 90-day period. Now, this is one part to focus. If the secretary, right up here, cannot verify if the agent meets the criteria, then they have to move to part two. Not an automatic thing, just saying you better do something in a timeline, not just whenever you get to it, maybe approve them or don't. The fact is, you have 90 days, make it happen, process them. You need more manpower, hire more people. Sounds to me like a you problem, not a me problem. So it's not automatic, it means you have a deadline. If you can't make that deadline, that's your problem to not be able to vet them out. Cannot verify. That's your problem. Cannot verify. However, in D, the secretary may suspend an agent or attorney described in subparagraph E without regard or notice if in some shape, fashion, or form they do not meet the qualification criteria and standards prescribed. So the point at hand is the onus is on the VA to actually do their job and not kick the bucket down the road for 2 more years. Because guess what? Veterans got all day to wait. Stop it. You got 90 days. Get her done. You can't do it. That's your problem. You catch them or you say, hey, these people can't do a thing. Then you go ahead and take them off the list. But here's another part. No later than 1 year after the enactment of this, now there also has to be an annual review before the Veterans House Committee that looks at the following: a report regarding the number of individuals suspended under the subsection or denied recognition under subsection or disaggregated by the reason for suspension or denial, whether it be organization, private, agent, or attorney. So now you got to keep rolls as to who meets the requirements. And then having caps for fees. So things like, for example, if there's a fee agreement that you agree upon. Again, nothing predatory there. It just says you want to work with me. Here are the fees. They may not exceed 12,500. Point blank. Simple. Again, an agreement between the veteran and the organization. The fact that the VA up here cannot penalize, right, an organization that does do something like this, whether accredited agents or lawyers, etc. So we have fees in place. And here's the business side that people keep forgetting. Everybody loves COLA. Everybody loves all these benefits. But it also looks at the secretary increasing the dollar amount, right, for said agreements, looking at the CPI, aka the cost of living goes up, aka the cost of business goes up. Yesterday's prices is not today's prices. You want a COLA increase, guess what? Everything goes up. So we're not gonna sit here and have an archaic, 10-year ago rate for something that makes no sense. The agent or attorney may not refer to private physicians that they have a vested interest in. Uh-oh. If your company has a medical staff that you have a vested interest with, no bueno. So I'll leave that for another day. Payments of an award if you win your claim, right? The product of five times the increase. It's laid out here, right? The difference between where you're at now and where you get to, 5 times the increase. Boom, there it is. A product of five. Say that 3 times real quickly. And what is this down here? Reinstatement of penalties for charging veterans unauthorized fees. Oh, whoa. I thought that the Plus Act was just giving it away. The fact of the matter is, it maintains things in place. And it also does highlight that there are private organizations that do not charge. Right here. Organizations recognized under 5902 of this title will furnish services for claimants free at no cost. What's 5902? Great question. Let's go to it. These are the organizations that you know. BFW, American Legion, et cetera, and all these folks. Yeah, you stay in play. Nothing wrong with that. But the fact is, these amendments go into here and change who is recognized and how that plays. So that language that I read briefly is put in here and added, again, reinstating even some of the penalties. So we're guarding, our veterans, but we're adding ramps to add more resources to solve the problem. So instead of crying about, we want to guard, no, we help our veterans by giving them more options, because I didn't need you to choose for me my job, my service, or how I did my business. So let me choose how I want my help. The end. 90 days for the VA to do their job is reasonable. You can't do it, a you problem. So if organizations want to come into compliance, we solve the problem that way versus alienating them, because all is going to happen is they're still going to go find ways to get help from who they want because it ain't what's available. Let's come together to fix the problem versus just pointing fingers and trying to shut things down. Facebook groups with 500,000 people who want to kick people out, organizations who don't want to talk. Everybody wants to be territorialism. 18 million veterans, 5 million that are rated, 1 million that are 100%. There's more veterans that need help. Not all are disabled, but the ones that are within that 18 million, come on, man. We need more. The end. Plus Act. I support it, unlike, sadly, the folks here who stand for veterans. No, we stand for veterans by giving them options. If not, government cheese. I heard that was great too, right? Capitalism, crazy concept. Everybody just wants to protect their own interests. Sorry for the long video, but it's a lot to unpack.